Okay, so in this tutorial we're going to take a photo and have a go at cutting something out from a background using the pen tool. So if you want to have a go at doing this yourself, if you go to www.tutorialtrack.com/Photoshop, you'll find an image here, image 0596, this one here. If you bring that up in your browser, you can right click on it and say copy image, and then in Photoshop just create a new document, file new, and then edit paste to paste that image that we've copied. Okay, so let's say we wanted to cut this person out and paste them into a different document somewhere. The pen tool is a good choice for this kind of work. So we'll start over, let's say on the shoulder here, so we'll start with a single click. And if you want to zoom in, Control plus or Command plus on a Mac, just so you can get a better view of your work as you're working with the image. You can also hold down the space bar to drag around the picture while you're working. So here I'm just holding down the space bar, then click and dragging with the mouse, so I can get a close up here of where I'm working. Okay, so we've got a sort of a rounded shape in this direction. I'll just zoom in a bit more. Okay, rounded shape in this direction. If I move the mouse up to about here and then click and drag, you see we've started the path with this curved shape here. Now we've got a bit of a change in the angle, an abrupt change, a corner. I call them corners. So if I hold down Alt, click on my anchor point, I get rid of that handle, and then I can come up and follow this next little curve here. Same thing again, we've got a corner, a very sharp change in the angle, so I hold down Alt, click on that point, and you can probably come up to somewhere around here, so click and drag. Okay, so we've got a path that's going here, then here, then here. Now I'm going to hold down my space bar so I can move around my picture a bit more. And I'll zoom out a bit, Command plus, Command minus to zoom in and out. We have quite a long curve here, and most of this we can probably get in one or two clicks. So I can move the mouse, here's my previous anchor point, move the mouse right up here somewhere and click and drag. You can see I can follow that quite nicely. Okay, so all the way from there to there. You get a feel for this after a while, so if you don't get a perfect result first time, don't give up. It just takes practice to know where to place these anchor points. So now I'll come maybe somewhere over here and click and drag. Okay, so we've managed to get around there in relatively few clicks because it's a very large sweeping curved shape that we've got there. Just zoom up to this corner here. I think that's part of the background. It's not something we need to cut out. So now if I come down, say to about here, click and drag, and then around the bottom, zoom up again. So you can see as I'm moving around the picture, I'm using the space bar to move around, and Command plus, Command minus to zoom in and out. So we've got a few sharp angles here, so this is where we hold down Alt or Option on the Mac, click on that anchor point, get this curve in, the same thing again. And just making our way around. So we try and grab as big a curve as we can at each step of the way. Now here, incidentally, you can see, I'll zoom right in so you can see it. This curve has come out and I'm grabbing a bit of that white background that I don't really want. I could backtrack, Command Z, and start from this point again, or I can just move this handle while I'm working. So it's the same trick again. If I hold down the Alt key, I can drag that last handle that I can see there and just brings it down. So anyway, we'll keep moving around. and then we'll just roughly grab this left-hand edge of the document and then come back to our original point. When we come back to our original point, a little sort of round circle appears next to the mouse cursor, and then at that point I can just click the mouse and my path is complete. So we now have a path that goes all the way around our character. Next question is, what do we do now to use this path to copy this character out and paste them into a new document? So I've mentioned before that when we use the pen tool we create these things called paths, and you'll find your paths down where your layers are. You should see layers, channels and paths, and you can access the paths palette there. If you don't see the paths palette in your workspace, go to your window drop down menu and turn paths on, choose paths. Paths can be organised much like layers. We can create, those of you familiar with layers, you can probably see here very similar buttons, button to create a new path for instance. We don't need to at this stage, but just be aware that we can have multiple paths in our document. But what we need to do is take this path that we've drawn and turn it into a selection. And if we click on the path that we've created, our work path in this case, and then there's a few ways to do it. Probably the quickest way is to right click on our work path here and choose Make Selection. Photoshop asks us what we want to do with the path to make the selection. We can choose New Selection, that's great. Leave these other settings as is. And if you've done any of the other training videos on tutorialtrack.com, you'd know what this is, a selection. So now at this point we can copy the contents of this selection. So if we go to our Edit menu, choose Edit, Copy. This is now copied into memory, we can go and paste it somewhere else. So I'll just create a new document, File New. The preset size of my new file is automatically the size of what's copied into the clipboard, so that works well here, so we can just press OK. And then we'll go Edit and Paste. And there's our cutout character pasted into a new document. So that's how we use the pen tool to cut out elements in photographs. The next video we'll talk about how to use the pen tool to create graphics from scratch.